Good Monday to everybody out there. It is time for the Jerry Hinkle program. The reason why so many people hate Mondays, and how could you hate a Monday? As beautiful, it's partly. I'm looking out the Dave Dedrick window of the Ashley Kringen Studios here at the UBS Network, and it's partly cloudy. Could get some rain. You know, that corn needs a drink, unless, of course, you're trying to harvest it. Sometimes people do that in September. Anyhow, I am Jerry Hinkle, and this is my program. So let's get started. That football player in San Francisco, the Frisco fella, he really started something. A lot of football players were doing something. I don't know if it was a protest or if it was a protest of the protest or what it was. Some folks was getting on their knees. I don't know if they was praying for America that way or what. You can take it for what, and take it or leave it, I guess. Some folks, raised a fist to the flag. That doesn't sound like a prayer to me, And there's others was linking their arms. I'm not sure what that's about. But, we live in a society, that First Amendment. I don't know what the original cast of those that wrote the Constitution might not have had that in mind, but that's what we got. Anyhow, guess what? Yesterday was the 15th anniversary of the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, and the crash in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. That flight, the Let's Roll flight, it was headed. Some say that those study ballistics and trajectory say that it was headed for the Capitol building. So a lot of folks want to make the 11th of September into a federal paid holiday. And I have been consistently, ever since that idea has come up, they want to call it Patriot Day or some such thing. I'm against that, because if we take that day and make it a federal holiday, we give people time off. If we close the banks and we close the schools and don't deliver the mail and all that, it's as if we're letting the terrorists win. I think business as usual on the 11th of September. Observe the day. Remember those who lost their lives, and remember those who lost their loved ones, and that. Do remember that. Always. Never forget. But don't let the terrorists win. We don't want a J.C. Penney Patriots Day white sale, is what I'm trying to say here. We don't want that kind of thing. Each of us remember it in their own way, in their own words, in their own time. And I think, I'll never forget, because I'm at the right age where I remember what things were like before. I remember what things were like during that day. I remember what things have been like afterwards. And there is a marked difference. Believe me. The older I get, the more I remember about that. And I remember, and we're coming close to the 5-minute mark, but we're going to go over again. I know I remember waking up, eating my Cheerios that day, looking at the TV. Oh my goodness! A plane crashed into some building in New York. How awful! And I kept on eating my Cheerios, and noise going in the background, and all of a sudden I remember the lady that Bryant Gumbel was interviewing that morning about first plane crash. She said, "Oh my God, another plane has crashed into the other tower," and that captured my attention. I had plans that day. I was going to work on my quarterly report for the home-based business I was working on at the time, and well, I did get that quarterly report done. But my goodness, it was. I had the TV on pretty much all day, and I remember my parents had granddad. They were going to a funeral for Richard Rasky, and I had things to do, so I couldn't. And then Jehovah's Witnesses visited later on that day, and they was talking about how they had been to the towers, and they said, and what a magnificent sight it was. It was about the time that they visited that the towers had fell, and I don't know, it was, but no, I remember, and I doubt that any of us will ever, those of us who were old enough, remember what it was, and even those of us who have been on since will look at the historical footage and so, oh my goodness, but I don't think they will fully appreciate it. It's hard to tell. I'm still struggling to figure out what it all means, even 15 years later. However, 15 years ago today, some interesting things happened that a lot of folks don't think about, and I remember it as clearly. The changing of the guard in London. They usually play "God Saves the Queen," but at the appropriate time, they played "Star Spangled Banner," which is really big when you consider that the Star Spangled Banner, aside from being our national anthem and set to a British drinking song, but that's neither here nor there. But when you consider that particular song was a celebration of a victory over British troops in the War of 1812, also known as Mr. Madison's War, that's really something that the Brits would kind of thumb their nose at history and play that at the changing of their guard at Buckingham Palace. And Prime Minister at the time, Tony Blair, declared, "We are all Americans" on this day, and America was we were hurting, but we had a lot of support, and I don't know, it's I don't know, things are a lot different now, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but that's some of my memories of September 11th and the 12th, 15 years ago today. So what else is going on? Hillary has pneumonia, the old man's best friend, because it takes him to heaven. Hopefully, I don't want to wish anything like that on poor old Hillary. She has enough to deal with. Take care of yourself. The country will wait. We got a lot of years, a lot of days before that election time comes up. I got to tell you, Jill Stein looks better all the time. All right, that's neither here nor there. And we've taken too much time already, so I'll just say I forgot to do a commercial, but we'll just forget that, and we'll say God be with you. Do the best you can. This has been the Jerry Hinkle program with me, your host, Jerry Hinkle, and we are coming to you. We came to you from the Ashley Kringen studios of the UBS network. So until next time, get out of my bathroom. You're invading my privacy.